State of the Union in the Keystone State. So you got the Eagles on the eastern side doing what they did in Kansas City last night, and then the writing on the wall for Matt Canada that's been in large block letters from the fan base for a couple of years, now finally spelled red rum when you held up a mirror to it. And guess what? Bounced, fired as the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, according to Jerry Dulac, who covers the team there in the great city of Pittsburgh. The Code Red ordered by Art Rooney II from ownership, which is an interesting choice.
Seen enough.
And you know, hey, it's interesting that ownership, through this report, puts its stamp on things because it is, according to a report I saw on ESPN.com, it does appear this is the first time the Pittsburgh Steelers have made a coaching or coordinator change midseason since 1941.
Oh, jeez. Been a long time.
How is that possible?
1941.
I'm going to have to look to see who this
is
was.
the last time.
Who was the guy that got fired?
Yeah, because I have fired.
That is the last time.
That's unbelievable.
It happened. I saw that report on the worldwide leader in sports. Here, I'll read it for you. So you know they mean business when it finally happened. The Steelers had 3 head coaches that season. Bert Bell, who was the half owner of the team, went 0-2. Aldo Dinelli went 0-5, and Walt Kiesling, good for him. He went 1-2-1.
So
that's the last time.
Bert Bell was part owner. Did he fire himself?
I guess, and then became commissioner. I don't know. Good stuff. It's a different time.
Wow.
He realized
different
it was
time.
all over his head. So.
When the product was better, according to Tom Brady. We'll talk about that later on.
Yeah, maybe.
And so, you know, hey, listen, can you blame them? Because they're not switching the quarterback there. That ain't happening.
Well,
not with the way that Kenny Pickett played at the end of last season and then in the preseason. We were all thinking, here we go, man. Hashtag. You know, Najee Harris and, you know, Jalen Warren and Kenny Pickett to George Pickens and Deontay Johnson. It's not like they're weaponless there.
Freiermuth.
And, you know, here we go. And it's been terrible. There's no other way to put it. It's been unwatchable. It's been terrible. Some of their wins is because the fourth quarter is Pickett time. He'll just start making plays and first downs. And maybe it's because Matt Canada was calling the game differently. I don't know. Check a burner account if that actually happened or not. But I think Najee Harris telling the media after the game, hey, you know, being asked the question if, you know, other teams knew what plays were coming, in other words, is the offense predictable? And it took him 10 Mississippi to give the answer to the question with an around 6 Mississippi.
He was really thinking.
If I'm the owner, I'm thinking, okay, let's get Coach Tomlin in here and have this very difficult conversation because you know he doesn't want to be the first head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers to make a coordinator change since 1941. Wow. But desperate times, man, and the desperate measures are Canada out, and it is apparently the quarterback's coach, Mike Sullivan, who's going to take over. So they changed out a Matt for a Mike, and we'll see if the different voice, different set of eyes will at least come up with a win in week 1, similar to what we saw in Western New York. Joe Brady taking over the Bills offense and play calling and making a difference. Because you look at the AFC and there is a whole host of 5-5 teams sitting there in the sniffing it category, including the team that the Steelers, who are currently 7th in the playoff standings, are playing this week. The Bengals at 5-5. You got the Broncos winning 4 in a row, 5-5. You got the Colts coming off a bye, who take on the Steelers in a couple of weeks in Indianapolis at 5-5. You got the Bills sitting there a half game behind at 6-5. The Raiders, who made a change at head coach, and that obviously put some wind in the Raiders' sails, 5-6. If the Chargers wake up 4-6, and then you got the Jets sitting there at 4-6. And by the way, let me just speak for Jets fans here. So, an offense is brutal to watch. And an offense is, say, like the Steelers. Just for instance,
Example.
I have these numbers right here. The Steelers are 28th in points per game.
Yeah.
They're 27th in touchdowns scored, 28th in yards per game, 31st in passing yards per game, with 170, by the way, in this passing league. 170 yards a game.
That's atrocious.
And they're like, that's it. Offensive court. We just need a new set of eyes calling plays.
Yeah.
And the Bills have much better numbers than this. Say, that's it. We need a new set of eyes calling plays. But the Jets, no. The offense for the Jets, the Steelers 28th in points per game with 16.6. Jets are 30th. Touchdowns. Steelers have scored 14 offensive touchdowns. That's 27th in the league. Jets are 32nd. Kids call that DFL. 28th in yards per game. 280.1 yards per game was the Steelers, who just fired their offensive coordinator. Jets are 30th. Worse. In all three of those categories, they do actually beat the Steelers in passing yards per game.
Hey.
Yeah, the Steelers are 31st. Jets are 30th. You know what? That might have been one of the few passes Lazard didn't drop.
Oh.
So all these things, Zach's the one who eats it. Because we, as Jets fans, are completely done with seeing him. And guess what? The reason why Nathaniel Hackett doesn't eat it is because number 8, who is working his ass off to try and speed bridge his way back across the George Washington Bridge, if he lands in JFK, he probably will, he's probably taking Teterboro. He's probably flying private into Teterboro. Who am I kidding? He's not taking any bridges.
Come on.
No tunnels for him. He's not bridging tunnel. No way.
The only bridge is in his foot.
So he goes out during the week.
Come on.
The weekend.
Not even, not even our friend who does the voiceover for Hard Knocks.
Leo Schreiber?
He's a helicopter guy.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
All right. Bottom line is this. They're not firing Nathaniel Hackett because Rodgers refuses that code red to be ordered. I just want to know who is helping with the game plan here internally. Jets won't say. Of course they won't say, because that just puts more blood in the water. And there's a ton of it right now in the Hudson River. And so I just wanted to throw that out there, Jets fans. The reason why they're not doing what the Steelers finally did and what the Bills shockingly did is because the quarterback, who may return now and definitely, we hope, will return next year, does not want it that way. And I don't believe he would even have to say anything, because there was that whole thing about there's a list and he doesn't want a list and all of that stuff. So I'm not ascribing that he's pulling any strings. It just goes without saying, because it's a bunch of problems. It's Zach. It's that offensive line on third, fourth, including fifth stringers, and then receivers who aren't catching. And including some of the best that they have. So I'm just wanted to throw that out there to Jets fans. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.